everybody, Captain over here, and I'm back with my February of 2018 pickups. Got a little bit of stuff, so let's get into it. First things are game related, but not actually video games. So we got a box of the Super Mario cereal. When this came out, I wasn't really actively looking for it. I mean, it's just cereal. It's kind of cool that it's got an amiibo in it, but I don't even have Super Mario Odyssey, and I don't plan on getting a Switch anytime soon. Not that I don't want one, just, you know, got a baby, so I don't really need a new console right now. I got enough games to play. But was walking down the aisle grocery shopping and saw it, so it's alright. Might as well pick up a box. Next thing I got was game storage for the PS4. Those of you that have a PS4, you know that it does not come with much storage. And with all the PS4 games I'd been buying, I've been running out of room. There's already some games that I had deleted off there because I hadn't been playing them yet. So this is good to get. And now on to the games. Resident Evil 4. This is my absolute favorite Resident Evil of all time. I just thought it was a little more fun than the other ones. The controls were better, and so the graphics look great on this game. The only problem I have with it is they changed the control scheme, so it's a little different than the PS2 version. So it took a while to get used to it. You'll see. I think I'm going to put it in the video here. There's a couple times where I had a perfect headshot lined up and I reloaded the gun instead of shot because I wasn't used to controls. So I picked the one that was closest to the PS2, but it was still weird. I wanted to hit X all the time, but I had to press square instead. So once I get comfortable with it, it's not too bad, but the game looks great. It's a lot of fun, and again, my favorite Resident Evil game, so I was glad to pick that up. Then I was watching Metal Jesus and Radical Reggie do a pickups video, and they recommended Resident Evil Origins Collection. So this has Resident Evil 0 and the first one, and it's remastered. It looks fantastic. So the footage I'm showing you is just the first Resident Evil, just because I'm a little more familiar with that one. I've actually played through it and beaten it, but I've never played through Resident Evil 0, even though I have it. But the game looks great. It's a lot of fun. I like how you can use alternate controls. You don't have tank controls every time, so it's much easier to move around. You can also, when you choose your characters, other than just choosing Chris and Jill, you can actually choose a Chris and a Jill that are more upgraded. I think the Chris is from Resident Evil 5, but I'm not sure about the Jill. But they just look a little bit different. It's just kind of cool to add things like that into the game. So good collection there. And then, so for my work, we have to do this health screen, and if we do it, we get $150 towards a bunch, like any store that we choose, and there's like 200 stores to choose from, so I always pick Best Buy. So I went there to pick up some games. These are all still sealed, just because I have so many other games to play right now. I didn't have time to start these, so there is no game footage, but we got Ratchet and Clank. So it's a reimagination of the original on the PS2. So I want to go through that first and then play through that one to see any differences. We've got Okami HD. So I've always been interested in playing Okami. I think it's on PS2 and GameCube. It always looked great, but now it probably looks even better now that it's in HD. So I picked that up. We got Wolfenstein 2, New Colossus. So I heard really good things about this. I just picked up Wolfenstein on the Xbox 360 a couple months ago, so I wanted to try that one out. And we've got Shadow of Mordor, the Game of the Year edition. This is another game that I've heard really good things about and been wanting to play, but I just haven't picked it up. So finally, I was like, you know what? Got to get that game. And then last on the PS4, The Evil Within 2. So I've always been really interested in these games. I just picked up the first one for Xbox 360 a couple months ago, so I wanted to get this one. I still want to play the first one first, and then I'll go through this one. But really excited to try that out. All right, the rest of the games are all for the NES. So I was driving home from work one day, and saw the Game Corner open back up. So I went in, talked to the owner, Justin, and he just mentioned he had still a few more months on his lease, so he was going to open up the store for a little bit. So I went in looking for some NES games, and we've got RBI Baseball 2. So I love RBI Baseball. It's my favorite NES baseball game that I've played. And this one, I don't like it as much as the original. You know, they went away from the cartoony graphics, more realistic players, which is fine, but I like the cartoony better, and I don't like the music as much. But what's kind of cool is they do show instant replay every once in a while. So that's interesting, but otherwise the game controls great. So it's still fun. I just prefer the original. And then another Tengen game, we've got Vindicators. This is a very fun tank game. The tank controls aren't the greatest, but it works fine. But you go around having to get the key to each level to escape, and then you can collect stars in each level. And when you collect a certain amount of stars, you can upgrade your tank, like the speed of your tank, how far your shot goes, the power of your shot, how many smart shots you get, your fuel, that kind of stuff. It's a really fun game. Definitely check it out. Probably one of the better Tengen games. And then we've got Thundercade. Thundercade is a very underwhelming shooter. The graphics aren't very good. The music's not very good. It's just kind of boring. One thing it is kind of cool, you can get a sidecar for your motorcycle. And that can sometimes shoot forward, sometimes it shoots to the side. So that's kind of cool. You can blow up some buildings and some trees to gain power-ups, but it's really hard to tell which ones you can actually blow up. So that's kind of annoying. Next game I got, a game I'd never heard of, but it was cheap. Thought I'd try it out, and that's Mystery Quest. And Mystery Quest also came with its manual. Mystery Quest is a platformer, and it's very mediocre. Again, graphics aren't very good, music's kind of boring, but you go around being able to shoot these like balls at these enemies. There's like scorpions and birds and stuff. And eventually you get to castles where you go through. It's kind of like a dungeon. But very underwhelming so far. You got a vitality bar. It's kind of weird is there'll be certain blocks on the ground that allow you to like jump higher and stuff. I don't know why they didn't just make it like a certain button combination. And then there's also some squares on the ground that have skulls, and if you stand that too long, it drains your health. So, but very underwhelming, not that good of a game. And next one was probably the best one of the lot. I wasn't going to pick it up at first, but then I went home, looked through my NES guide from Pat the NES Punk, and this one was actually pretty highly rated, and that is B-52 from Camerica. So you go around as a bee trying to get honey and stop like ants from stealing it. It controls really well. It looks really good. It's even 2 players. I haven't played that yet. So I assume that it is you alternate turns and not playing at the same time. But it's kind of fun. The controls are a little slippery at times, but otherwise they're pretty good. You just go around going into flowers, taking the honey, and once you fill it up, you got to bring it back to the hive. In the first level, you just have to go through 3 flowers and then you're good. But then in the other levels, you actually have to get more honey, so sometimes you have to venture back out. And there's enemies like spiders and ants and caterpillars, butterflies. There's a sprinkler that if you get hit, you got knocked back, and sometimes that knocks you into enemies to kill you. But it's pretty good, so if you ever see it, it's a very good Camerica game. And then finally, we're going to finish up with my LJN quest. So I went to the couple stores nearby. I went to Game Corner and then also Foster's. Their games are kind of expensive sometimes, so I didn't like going there. But they had a few games. So I'm trying to think, let's see, I've got from them, we've got Roger Clemens, MVP Baseball. Really expected this to be a bad game. It's not terrible. Actually plays pretty well. The only thing I don't like is the camera angle changes, and that changes which button you have to press to throw to which base, which is very annoying. Also, I had a really hard time fielding the ball for some reason. It just seemed like it always went over my head, or I was just too slow to get to the spot. But it's not as bad as I thought. And then another one which I never see in the wild, Thrilla Safari. So I really like the TNC games. They're kind of fun. I'm not very good at them, as you can probably see from the footage. But this is the second time I was playing it, so I did a little bit better. But you go around as Thrilla, and you skateboard, go off across ramps and stuff, and it's kind of fun. There's even in the second level, you actually bounce off something and start going back the other way, which is kind of cool. But that was a good find. I didn't expect to find that one so quickly. And then I went back to Game Corner on my way home just to see if they had anything else, and we picked up Major League Baseball, which is a terrible baseball game. Then we've got NFL football, a terrible NFL game. The only reason I actually, funny story about this, I saw this at Foster's. They wanted $12 for this game. $12 for NFL football. You see it everywhere, and it's not a good game. So I could not believe they wanted $12. I know the sticker says $2.99, but I don't know what I got it for, because it was this and a couple more games for $12. So I got it for just a few bucks. I was like, $12 is ridiculous. So thanks, Justin. And then finally, WrestleMania, the Steel Cage Challenge. So very generic wrestling game. I do like how when you're picking your wrestler, it does have their music in all of its 8-bit glory. And then when you're doing the entrances, it doesn't show you entering, but it does tell you where you're from and stuff. Mean Gene's doing the announcing and does have your music going on. And then the wrestling is very boring. Everyone's got the punch and the kick, and everyone's got the same grapple moves. So it would have been nice if they would have changed that up a little bit. But basically, it's a button masher. First time I played, I got my butt kicked. Second time, I was actually able to win a match, so that's kind of cool. I did not play the steel cage section or part yet, so I'll try that out eventually. But there you go. Got a few more LJN games added to my list, so I'm now at 16, so 10 to go. Went to a couple other stores in the last couple weeks, but none of them had any yet. I also have my brother looking for me up by him to see if he can find any for me, but no such luck yet. Some of those are, I know, uncommon. None are super expensive. You know, Nightmare on Elm Street's the most expensive one, and I already have that one. So it shouldn't be too expensive to get them, but some of them just hard to find. Like Crash Dummies I've never seen before. King of the Ring I've never seen. Trying to think. I think all the other ones I've at least seen before. So there you go. Thanks for watching. Let me know what you think. And until next time, this is Captain Algebra, signing off.